Hey everyone, sorry for my lack of videos recently, but now that school is over, I can upload videos such as movie reviews. So here is my review for Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. Be aware there are spoilers in this review. Ready Player One was kind of a shitty movie, and I'm honestly surprised that more people didn't notice many of its obvious problems. Like seriously, there are so many plot holes and cliches that it's unbelievable that the majority of critics have not addressed them. So this movie takes place in the year 2045, and there's this awesome virtual reality game called The Oasis, which allows you to do whatever you want and be whoever you want. Basically VR chat on steroids. One problem with this movie is that it has trouble setting up rules and being consistent with those rules. So at the beginning of the movie, they show that in order to play this game, you need a VR headset, some special gloves, and an omnidirectional treadmill. And apparently these devices are all you need in order to play the game. Now, the thing is, it doesn't make much sense since they're performing actions in the game which are pretty complex. Like during the lazy narration from the main character at the beginning of the movie, he says that you can do things like climb Mount Everest with Batman. How would this setup allow you to climb something? Okay, so it's a little convoluted, but whatever. But right after they visually explain this, throughout the rest of the movie you see people walking around the city in the real world wearing their VR headsets. What? But I thought you needed an omnidirectional platform. If you were playing the game while moving around the real world, wouldn't you eventually bump into something? In the movie, you see people fighting literal battles in the game, and in the real world they are performing the same actions in the middle of the street. Wouldn't that be extremely dangerous? They make this somewhat logical rule that in order to play the game you need an omnidirectional platform, and they completely fucking ignore it. Why? In order to make a movie like this, you need to set up rules that are consistent. You think a director like Steven Spielberg would be on top of this shit? Apparently not. Another problem is the plot itself, which makes no fucking sense. So the main character continues to explain through narration that when the creator of the Oasis died, he had special keys that could help lead to the Easter egg which will grant you ownership of the Oasis. And everyone who plays the game wants to find it. There is also this large corporation that's working to find these keys. So apparently it's been 5 years and the general public, including this large corporation, couldn't find these keys? I mean, they did figure out that the first key is earned by completing a race that's supposedly unbeatable. Firstly, I don't understand how nobody has beaten this race. From the looks of it, the map including all of the traps operate in the exact same way during all of the races. Meanwhile, you have this large corporation that's hiring hundreds of employees to participate in this race to try to beat it. So it's been 5 years and nobody, including this large corporation, found a way to beat this race. Wouldn't there be highly detailed tutorials after 5 years? Plus, couldn't the corporation just set up a race where every single player is one of their employees? That way, they would be able to work together and not have to deal with all the highly upgraded vehicles being operated by regular players. Anyway, let's get back to the plot. He goes to the Oasis archives to find clues, and when he does, he finds this audio clip of the creator of the Oasis saying, "You know, guys, this is just a thought, but what if we could just go backwards, like when you're driving a car and you go in reverse?" But then all of a sudden, he has a huge fucking epiphany. He enters in the race again, but this time he drives backwards, and when he does, he goes through an invisible cave that's under the map which leads him to the finish line and he gets the key. Okay, so you're telling me it's been 5 years and nobody, including this well-funded and professional organization, has thought of going backwards? I used to see people try that in Mario Kart games all the time. Plus, when the creator of the game died, he told everyone they needed to look in the archives in order to find clues, so nobody found this extremely obvious hint, and it's been 5 years? Doesn't make any fucking sense. So after he completes the first challenge, throughout the rest of the movie, everyone in the Oasis treats him like a celebrity. Okay, I'm sorry, but wouldn't there be thousands of people trying to kill him for the key? Do trolls not exist in the future? This movie doesn't understand how human beings work. So the characters have to go through 2 extra challenges to find the keys. The second challenge is actually pretty cool. They basically have to find the key by entering the world of the film The Shining. They use the same music from The Shining, and the set was designed so well that it looks like they took scenes from the actual movie and just added the characters in. They even gave the scene a film grainy look to it, which was similar to the original film. Overall, this was a really well made and well thought out scene. Unfortunately, I cannot say the same for the last challenge. They basically just have to line up at this huge virtual castle and use a TV and a Game Boy set to beat the game Adventure, and thus they get the final key. But if this is the case, wouldn't there be millions of people lining up to try to beat this game? I mean, the corporation was able to get there first and form a line, but what if they didn't? Did the game developer really expect people to just politely line up and take turns? I guess I'm not supposed to think about it. So of course the main character is able to figure out how to beat the game, while the large corporation fails yet again. But that's another thing. How the fuck wasn't the corporation able to figure out how to beat this game? I mean, they had an entire team that were brainstorming on how to beat it, yet none of them considered just searching up the tutorial on the internet. The main character explains that in the game Adventure, you need to search the maze area and find a hidden key that you use to unlock the gate. You're seriously telling me that no one knew this and nobody considered that they could just use the internet? This movie is so fucking goddamn stupid. So the main character uses all of the keys to unlock the gate that leads to his reward. There he meets the artificial intelligence version of the Oasis's creator, and it offers him a contract that gives him ownership of the Oasis. But before he could sign it, he realizes that him signing this document goes against the creator's morals somehow, and the AI tells him, "Good job, you beat the game." What? What moral or lesson was this scene trying to convey? Surely, if he's being offered ownership of a game like the Oasis, he needs to sign some sort of document or fill out some forms that verify his ownership of the gaming company. Wait, does he even know how to manage a company? I guess you're not supposed to think about it. The characters in this movie suck. Let's discuss the main character first. Wade. First of all, this character has barely any flaws, and he never struggles. Every challenge that comes in his way, he's able to breeze through with ease. Here's an example. The evil corporation figures out where he lives, and try to kill him by having drones place bombs on his trailer home. But since he wasn't home at the time, his family, including 50 other people, are killed. He witnesses this, and a minute later he completely forgets about it. And it never affects his character throughout the rest of the movie. Like seriously, if they remove this scene, including his useless family, it wouldn't impact the plot at all. Also, during the last few minutes of the movie, they turn him into a huge douchebag. So after he becomes owner of the Oasis, he makes a new rule where the Oasis is shut down on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because he thinks people should enjoy life in the real world too. Some people just need to have fun in the real world and appreciate what they have at home. What a fucking asshole! What if some people do experience life in the real world, but they're only off work on Tuesdays and Thursdays? What if there are some people who don't have lives in the real world, and the game was the only thing that was keeping them from killing themselves? Not everyone has a girlfriend, you dick! Why couldn't you just log off every Tuesday and Thursday? Why did you have to force everyone to do the same? Ellen. Then we have his best friend, who is probably the best character in the movie. She was a pretty good comedic relief, and they even used her to convey a message about how you never really know who you're talking to on the internet, which is a good message. To be honest, I'm just glad Steven Spielberg let a gay black man play in one of his movies. The Asian kids. They suck. They don't add anything to the plot, and their character traits only consist of stereotypes. Samantha. She plays as the generic love interest for the main character. Like Wade, she doesn't have any character flaw, except one that doesn't matter anyways. The entire movie she's trying to tell Wade, "You wouldn't like me in the real world, I'm only pretty in the virtual world. You wouldn't like me if we met up." But she's a young, attractive model. Literally all she has is a birthmark on her face, which she can easily cover up with her hair. And the movie tries to play it off as if the main character is such a good guy that he likes her even though she's so ugly. Imagine if he met her in real life and she looked like Danny DeVito. That would be a testament to true love. Halliday. His character was alright. There were a few things I liked about him, but that's really all there is. I didn't really like how Mark Rylance betrayed his character. He's so quiet, and he sounds like a text-to-speech program. I'm going to assume that this is the director's fault, since Mark Rylance is a genuinely good actor. Now, I already talked about how contrived and poorly thought out his 3 challenges are, but I haven't even talked about one of the items in his game. Yeah, there's this device that allows you to kill everyone and delete every item in the sector it's activated in, which you can unlock by just purchasing it. Why would you add this? If an item like this existed, then there would be people who would just grind for loot, purchase it, and fuck everyone. Do trolls not exist in this universe? Why is this in your game? TJ Miller. Nah. Woman number 6. What did she even do in this movie? You know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Moving on. Nolan Sorrento and his evil corporation. My biggest problem with this movie is, of course, the evil corporation. Not only is it a cliche, but it doesn't make any fucking sense. I already mentioned how stupid it is that the huge corporation couldn't figure out how to beat the challenges, but that's not the only problem here. So the evil corporation is trying to find a way to stop him from getting the keys, but the only way to find Wade is to figure out what his name is. Is that seriously the only way you could find him? Can't you just track his IP address, or even better, hack his Oasis account? You have enough money to hire hundreds of employees to play the game. Is it not an option for you to just hire hackers to hack his account? They still use passwords to log in. And it should be easy, considering that the owner of the evil corporation has a password as simple as this, just sitting on his expensive VR setup. So I'm assuming that the main character has a similarly simple password. If you were to hack his account, then you would have access to all of his keys, and you wouldn't have to go through any of the challenges. I don't know, maybe both those options are somehow not possible, but even if they were, why couldn't you just kidnap him after finding his name? If you just kidnapped him and forced him to give you the keys, or better yet, his entire account, you could claim ownership of the Oasis easily. Oh wait, I almost forgot to mention how stupid the evil corporation CEO is. Again, he doesn't consider any of these easy solutions that could help him achieve his goal, but also, why is his password so short? I might be mistaken, but didn't Steve Jobs have a memorized password that was 50 digits long? Okay, so that's a little stupid, but it's nothing compared to the character arc at the end of the movie. So basically, Wade finally gets a hold of the Easter egg, which grants him ownership of the Oasis. Nolan Sorrento is pretty much finished at this point, but he tries one last attempt to get the egg. So he pulls out a gun and starts walking towards the van where Wade is holding the Easter egg. Meanwhile, every civilian around him doesn't even try to stop him, despite the fact he is clearly about to kill this guy. And no one in this American trailer park city has a gun themselves? Alright. The next thing that happens is so fucking stupid that I honestly don't understand why no other reviewers have pointed this out. This is where the movie goes from a 4 out of 10 to a 3 out of 10. He opens the door and witnesses Wade holding the egg while crying tears of joy. And after seeing this, Nolan puts his gun down and lets him go. What the fuck? You spent 5 years, invested millions of dollars, and hired thousands of employees trying to get this fucking egg. You even killed his family as well as 50 other people. And when all hope is lost, you still continue to try to get the egg by killing him, but all of a sudden, after seeing him cry, you change your mind? Steven Spielberg, the director of Jaws and Jurassic Park, sacrificed logic and character development all for the sake of a stupid cliche that didn't make any fucking sense. You can't just change a character's motivation out of the blue for no justifiable reason, especially when the character goes through such extreme lengths the entire movie just to accomplish his goal. Shh, just look at the pop culture references, shh. I don't usually have a problem with a few cliches in summer movies, but in this movie there are so many that I can't forgive it. I have a whole list of them. Generic love interest, stereotypical Asian people, evil corporation, greedy CEO, lazy narration, antagonist becoming good for no reason. You get it? Can I move on? So there you have it. It was stupid and it didn't make any sense. I'm disappointed in you, Steven. You didn't even give me one anime girl or a Ugandan Knuckles. The only good thing I can really say about this movie was that I guess I did have fun. I was never bored, at least. And there were some pop culture references that I did get a kick out of. But for the most part, this movie just felt like one big giant ad. There were so many examples of unsubtle product placement, and considering how poorly thought out this movie was, I think it's safe to assume that that was its only purpose, to be an advertisement. This movie was the perfect opportunity to make money, and I guess looking at it from a business perspective, it's pretty understandable. But unfortunately, I tend to value artistic integrity, characters, and plot structure over business decisions when it comes to the films I watch. Now, I'm sure the overall story and world would probably make sense if I read the book, and I am going to see for myself when I eventually get to it on my reading list. But when you're adapting a book into a movie, you're supposed to make it stand on its own as a film. but unfortunately I can't count this advertisement as a film. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this review. Please like and subscribe if you did, and I'm giving this one a 3 out of 10.